fair comparison, but it does show you how the effect of higher rates, lower bond prices reverberates throughout the economy. So what does Scott Martin do when he advises clients with this phenomenon? They've been pouring their money into stocks of late, which is their hedge, I guess, which is
Business calculator to see how much you can save by switching, or call 855-339-1448 and we'll calculate the savings for you.
Hi, I'm Jane King, and this is New to the Street, in person back here at the NASDAQ market site in New York City. This show is all about public, private, blockchain companies, the CEOs, the founders, and the innovators, bringing you lots of opportunities to consider. Here we go. SEKUR is a secure messaging and also email service with some new products coming for businesses as well. With me is CEO Alon Gahi to explain SEKUR, your new products, what problems you're solving, which are huge problems. So let's just talk about, give me an overall view of SEKUR and what your company is doing.
Sure, thank you, Jane, and hello to anybody who's watching us. Being on the New York Stock Exchange, the bastion of capitalism, so I'm pretty happy to be here. So SEKUR, spelled S-E-K-U-R, is essentially a suite of communication solutions, secure and private communication, and also a private kind of a virtual vault, data management, file share, password manager. So we have SEKUR Suite, which is more of an enterprise rated type software for, it's like a password manager. It's got file share, file backup, etc., like a backup in a cloud. And then we have SEKUR, which is essentially an email, a messenger, and we're launching encrypted video and encrypted voice communication as well. We have several packages right now, and we just launched SEKUR Mail Only, and we also just launched the SEKUR Business packages.
Now, how are you able to provide these services securely as opposed to what's currently on the market?
Sure. So what we do first is we provide you with privacy. You know, we're pretty much the leader in privacy. We do have an extremely secure system as well. The big thing is that we have our own infrastructure, so we don't host our solution in third-party like hosting, like big tech. You know, you have the big 3-4 cloud companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google. We have our own. So that gives you more security and definitely more privacy. Also, we host everything only in Switzerland. So, you know, we're not compliant with the Cloud Act, which dictates that even if you're in Switzerland and you use a US infrastructure, that data can be subpoenaed and, of course, data mined. We never data mine you. Our encryption is such that when you're in our database, each individual user is segregated. That takes a tremendous amount of processing power. We call it our virtual vaults technology. And when you send an email or a message to someone within or outside of your organization, we use what we call the Helix tunneling system. So, Jane, let's say you want to email or message someone who is not part of your company and they don't have SEKUR. They get a notification, whether it's a text or an email, to click and communicate with you, read your email, and SEKUR reply right back. And the best part is that they don't have to register to SEKUR as long as the sender has it. So that's a huge thing for businesses because you got finance, laws, medical organization, I mean, just anyone communicates outside, right? And that's where all the emails get hacked.
Right. Well, and there's all kinds of personal and business information on emails that you don't necessarily want people to see. So
no, and you don't think about it, but businesses use, I mean, 94% of all hack come from email at the source. Whether they hack the infrastructure later is because they read a ton of email to figure out how to get to that network. So we are unique in a way that we have our own infrastructure. We don't do open source coding. And I know a lot of people say, well, open source is better because developers have that oversight.
Yeah, they like that collaboration.
They like that collaboration. Right. And it was great 10, 20 years ago. But today, you also have the hackers that come in. And therefore, it's like basically opening your wallet to them, or your secret sauce or your secret formulas, and they can come in. Sure, they can configure and improve, but they can also hack you. Because once you know the code, you can do anything to it. You can enter. So we don't do open source at all, never have, never will. We have our own proprietary tech. We don't integrate with other APIs, other integration. We are like our own little Fort Knox, but Swiss version, of course. So that's the thing. If you integrate with so many software, and when they have a flaw, it basically goes back to you, and it creates a crack. You know, every time you have a connection, it's a weak spot, even in structure. It's better to have one solid line as opposed to a line with a bunch of little connection that you're weak and you can crack into.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Alon, for coming, explaining Secure.
Thanks, Jane. Happy to be here.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
The workplace has changed. Companies now depend on video conferencing to meet with customers and to collaborate with remote workers. Yet this change has brought about significant new cyber risks. Hackers are now stealing personal, medical, government, and corporate data during these video conferences. The problem is existing video conferencing systems were not designed and built by a cybersecurity company until now. Safe vChat, the industry's most secure video conferencing and collaboration platform. Secure your sensitive data with Safe vChat. Visit safevchat.com today. Use coupon code BUYNOW and save an additional 15%.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue culture starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Sibannac is a next-generation wellness company with some new products focusing on immunity as well as sleep, two of the key issues in our society right now. With me is the CEO, David Mirsky, to talk about these new products. And you were talking about something you have, the Campus Co platform. Explain what that is.
Yeah, so we're really fortunate when we brought on Eric Stoll, who is our Chief Marketing Officer, and brought in his company, Lifetime Branding. And Eric, has catered to and continues used to cater to Fortune 100 companies, including Coca-Cola and some major brands. We created a platform where we could develop brands, develop products, and then bring those products to market. And the platform to this point has been working unbelievably well, and we have brought in some phenomenal new relationships that I think we'll be talking about shortly here. But the platform is really a place where brands can come and innovate, and it's a center to bring everything together that a brand might need to go from product development to market.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, and we talked about sleep. Let's start there. I work early morning, so sleep is a very important.
Absolutely. And people don't realize, in healthcare today, everything really starts and stops with rest and sleep. That really sets the body's ability to be able to handle all of the hardships and the daily grind. So what we've been fortunate enough, we've announced a letter of intent with a unbelievable new company called Somo, which has developed a patent-pending sleep mask, which is prototypes are in production now, and we've been testing for a while. And essentially, the mask has a pressure point, which is the patented component of it that applies pressure to sort of like right between in the forehead, called the yin tang point, and that helps to produce rest, which leads to peaceful sleep. The sleep market is $430 billion worldwide and almost $15 billion in the US, and growing at a staggering pace. So the company is really looking hard into continuing to develop that area out with these new products. And in that, we've got the mask, and we're also innovating a sleep and ingestible product that will essentially promote relaxation and into a peaceful night's rest.
Oh, no, I think sleep is a big problem. I think, a lot of people I know have trouble sleeping well on a regular basis. So, and immunity. So another big issue. What are you working on there?
Yeah, immunity is great. We have a licensing agreement with one-of-a-kind product in copper, which isn't really known to many people. This one is copper niacin, really colloquially called copper 1. And it's shown really great early results in helping to promote general immunity in the body to stave off all of the infections and things we've been dealing with, obviously, in the pandemic over the last couple of years. And that is going into trials at the same time now, and we're starting to do some experimentation with that to develop either supplement or drug products to bring to market. The developer of our copper product is pursuing a new drug with the FDA, and we're following very closely on that to bring consumer products to market. In addition to that, the company has a licensing agreement now to market a new vaccine that is in development that's currently about to go into mouse trials, and we're negotiating with that company to be heavily involved in that. And that is a vaccine that will also promote immunity that's based on lettuce. Very cutting edge stuff, and that's what we're doing here at Sibannac.
Well, I'm excited for you. I look forward to updates, David, as the year goes on.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
The workplace has changed. Companies now depend on video conferencing to meet with customers and to collaborate with remote workers. Yet this change has brought about significant new cyber risks. Hackers are now stealing personal, medical, government, and corporate data during these video conferences. The problem is existing video conferencing systems were not designed and built by a cybersecurity company until now. Safe vChat, the industry's most secure video conferencing and collaboration platform. Secure your sensitive data with Safe vChat. Visit safevchat.com today. Use coupon code BUYNOW and save an additional 15%.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data the hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue culture starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Sfio is a company in a lot of different industries. Coffee with the Epiphany Cafe, also technology, and they're going to be talking about a new industry today. So with me, the COO, Mark Epifano, to talk about this. So Mark, just give me like an overall view of the company. What are your core divisions?
Yeah, going back to your question, we have three divisions of SFIO. So we have number one, of course, F&B, which I think Jets mentioned before, which we are going to launch, of course, with Epiphany brand. And then the second one would be our real estate, which I'm going to mention, later on, the flagship brand for that. And the third one is, of course, with you've mentioned before, Richard Prodigalidad, the LNS Plus.
Yeah, and SFIO is launching a new brand to lead your efforts in real estate. So can you share some details about that?
Yep, that's absolutely right, Jane. And we are very excited to be sharing the news, actually for the very first time here with you. Over the past few months, we've announced a number of real estate development projects, largely waterside developments in the Philippines. These are located in top global tourist spots like Palawan and Batangas in the Philippines. What we envision for these projects is a unification of purposeful technologies championing wellness that, intersects innovation and community health, became the blueprint for what is now Moraya. What we've envisioned to be the leading real estate developer in tech-driven wellness-oriented townships. These are going to be wholly unique offerings in the global market. We're utilizing health data systems, the latest in wellness design to create communities in proactive care built in. Mm-hmm. So communities where your children, your parents, your friends and coworkers can live healthier lives. Well, sounds like cliche, but it's true. We're also targeting a number of markets with these communities, primarily the health tourism industry. It's a fast-growing industry, I believe. In the next, around 2027, it's going to be $105 billion US dollar industry. So, and in saying that, in Southeast Asia, the leaders in this space have historically been three of them. We have Thailand, Singapore, and Malaysia. Well, some challenges have been holding back the Philippines as a viable player here as a global company. But with SFIO, it's a unique it's uniquely positioned to build the right systems and facilities, as well as funnel the necessary demand from foreign markets to make Mariah communities real contenders in this space.
Okay, it makes sense to bring all your brands together into one. So thank you so much, Mark, for updating us.
That's an ecosystem, Jane.
Yeah,
yes,
and thank you for sharing your news of Mariah with New to the Street.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
The workplace has changed. Companies now depend on video conferencing to meet with customers and to collaborate with remote workers. Yet this change has brought about significant new cyber risks. Hackers are now stealing personal, medical, government, and corporate data during these video conferences. The problem is existing video conferencing systems were not designed and built by a cybersecurity company until now. Safe vChat, the industry's most secure video conferencing and collaboration platform. Secure your sensitive data with Safe vChat. Visit safevchat.com today. Use coupon code BUYNOW and save an additional 15%.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Growing clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Is a startup that aims to transform the way that money is moved on the blockchain. And with me is Simon Babakani and also Sam Tapalia, who are founders of Zebek. So congratulations. You had a token sale today, which is kind of like an IPO in the crypto world. So it's a big deal. You guys did very well. Coinbase was an investor, Solana. I mean, tell me about that whole process and how the token sale went. Do you want to start, Sam? Go for it.
So we started Zebek like 6 months ago. We have a great set of investors. We did a couple of rounds of fundraising, and our whole idea for token sale was it's not a traditional form of liquidity event that people think of IPO. We think of this as a community generation event where we are able to empower our community, and the people who are using this platform or supporting this platform has some form of ownership in terms of the governance of the protocol, what happens to it, right? How the fees are structured. And that's, we did around $7 million in token sale across various different platforms. And we're very fortunate to have quite a lot of enthusiastic people who are interested in being part of the future of Zebek.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. What does Zebek do that would make all these big investors so interested in the company? You go, Simon.
So Zebek is a continuous streaming platform for payments. The problem that we're trying to solve is the biweekly, monthly payroll problem, where employers and payroll companies essentially take custody of workers' hard-earned wages for a period of weeks, and we're bringing that power back to the workers and letting them receive funds in real time for their work and reinvest and do whatever they want with the funds from their wallets.
Interesting. So, because I saw on your website you can get paid by the second, and I thought, and maybe I sound like an old fogey, why do I want to get paid by the second? Like, what is the advantage to that?
Yeah, I think the basic answer of that is time value of money, right? That's like the core thesis of the entire financial world. Someone who is getting paid in biweekly or monthly basis, and you compare that to someone who's getting paid in real time, imagine the yield that you are getting on this real-time basis compared to someone who's getting yield every 2 weeks or once a month. Right? If you look over 1 year, 2 year, or if you start looking over the 40-year career of any average working person, the value will be huge difference. And so that's basically what we're doing. And this is going to be really powerful because now once things start to move seamlessly over chains and over wallets, you can start to create very, very complicated, but in the same time, very exotic products. Things like yield by second, credit by seconds. Let's say, you work here and they pay you $1 million a month, and instead of receiving $500,000 every 2 weeks, you're getting paid in real time. And once you know that you're getting paid every single second and you're getting paid $1 million a month, we can somehow be able to, at some point, be able to give you uncollateralized loans for up to millions of dollars.
I see.
And these are like very interesting products. This is like, which is the basis of our product.
Right. So, but then an employer likes to hold on to that money because they probably get a little extra interest on it before they pay you. What would be their incentive to transfer?
Well, I say think about the job market right now. How hard is it to retain employees, to attract employees? Now imagine if you're a traditional employer and you're paying someone every month for their work, and a competitor of yours now says that they're going to pay everyone by the second in real time. Where do you think talent is going to flow?
Well, and the employees will be the one that will put the pressure on that we want to get paid this way. So you think that's where it's going to come? Companies are going to have to transfer.
They'll have to listen to the demands of the workers.
Okay, interesting. So now what? What's next for Zebek? Now that you've had a successful token raise, what do you do?
Yeah, I think the next 6 months is going to be for us to like heads down, build the product and build the community, right? There are a few interesting products that we have lined up that we're going to be releasing in the next 3 to 6 months time period, right? And in the same time, we will be focusing really hard on getting our community excited. Either that is for developers to build interesting apps on top of it, or for businesses to implement our product, right? Either that is on an enterprise level or on a much more smaller level as well. And those two are going to be our core tenant.
Yeah, it's very exciting to kind of watch this and see, and congratulations on your really great token sale. It's pretty amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
America keeps turning to Kudlow. He's been beating the competition to become the king of business news. No one else has his experience. No one else does his kind of analysis.
And I'm not going to hold back.
Kudlow.
From Wall Street to your street.
Weekdays at 4.
The reason your employees work isn't just about enjoying the work they do. It's about keeping their families going. Fresh starts, happiness, and feeling strong. It's time to show your workers you get it. Empower your workforce with on-demand pay. It isn't just about accessing their earned pay before payday. It's about giving employees access to their money as they earn it. Daily Pay, celebrating workers every day.
Kevin Harrington here, original shark from Shark Tank. Don't miss out on the natural vitamins and minerals Organ Meat provides. Get the amount your body needs with the help of grass-fed bison liver supplements by Life Giving Spirit Supplements.
Made from grass-fed American bison, Life-Giving Spirit supplements provide nutrient-rich bison liver to promote optimal health. LGS bison liver is a superfood and an excellent source of various vitamins and minerals. Bison liver strengthens the immune system, improves energy levels, and so much more. GMO-free and hormone-free, LGS bison liver doesn't contain any additives, fillers, or preservatives.
LGS capsules made it easy for me to take, and I got all the benefits of bison liver. And I didn't have to deal with the hassle of having to prep it and actually chewing the bison liver.
Awaken your spirit with Bison. Order now and receive free shipping when you use promo code BISON at lgssupplements.com. Also available on Amazon.com.
It's the spring getaway event all month at Hyundai of El Cajon. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you're virtually already approved. New Hyundais are en route and ready for delivery. Just because you don't see it on the lot doesn't mean you can't drive it home tomorrow. All with 0 down and 0 payments for 120 days. Get to Hyundai of El Cajon today or HyundaiofElCajon.com.
My part, but you are always patient with my questions, and it has to do with her role as a public defender, and that you take up the cases that are presented to you as if she had no choice. So I know this has come up before with others who report the court and their public defender roles. Is that true? If you are in that position and you really object to, in this case, representing Guantanamo prisoners, as she did, that you don't want to take it on, you don't have to, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, when you've signed up for that job, when those assignments come, you take them and you carry them out. And she's talked about that. That's gotten a lot of attention here, the fact that she represented a number of Guantanamo Bay detainees. And so she has said, listen, that was a job I was doing as a federal public defender. I was happy to do it because I think it's important for our constitutional and judicial system that people know that everyone is going to have good representation and a fair shot at defending themselves. So she's embraced it, not apologized for it at all. And listen, both sides of the aisle, senators have praise the idea that we do need public defenders, but when it comes to Gitmo, it's obviously a very sore spot for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it is. All right, I learned not to argue with you on these matters, especially when you appear to have higher connections. Looking forward to the book next week, The Mothers and Daughters of the Bible, The Women of the Bible.
Thanks, Neil.
Impeccable stuff. Look forward to it. Thank you, Shannon, for all your hard work. Let's go to Richard Fowler. Richard Fowler, show host, a Fox News contributor. Richard, I'll mention to you what I had mentioned to Shannon. I'm not saying that Republicans aren't trying to lay a glove on her and sort of dislodge her, but Judge Jackson is holding up. I don't see anything at this stage that would get in the way of even her picking up a couple of Republican votes. What do you think?
Listen, I've learned not to get in the way of Shannon Bream either, Neil. But yes, I don't think that it doesn't seem to be any signs that she will not be confirmed at this particular point, especially given the fact that Democrats only have to get 50 votes to get her over the threshold. And I do think she'll probably pick up a couple of Republican votes. We do see a couple of issues coming up for Republicans around how she handled a couple cases around kiddie porn, as well as how she's handled the Gitmo detainees, as well as some of the talking points that you're going to see emerge in the midterm elections for Republicans. So you saw Ted Cruz yesterday bring up critical race theory. You've seen just a couple minutes ago Senator Cornyn from Texas, a senior senator, bring up the abortion issue and transgendered children and transgendered students. But so I think they're sort of laying out their sort of roadmap for the midterm elections, understanding that there really is no possibility at this point that Ketanji Brown Jackson will not be the next Associate Justice on the United States Supreme Court.
So your sense is that she could get, I think she got 3 Republican votes last time for the appellate court. She might lose Lindsey Graham, but she might keep Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins.
I think that sounds about right. And I think there's some other votes that you could look to. I mean, I would look to Ben Sass. I would also look to Mitt Romney as some potential pickups here for for the judge. And listen, I think she's done a really remarkable job. I think she's on hour 15 or hour 16 of her testimony. She seemed to hold up pretty well. She's taken on some tough questions. She's also been really good at sort of bobbing and weaving a lot of the sort of Republican ambiguous questions, like how do you define a woman, or what do you say to the church people in your church who are pro-life? And she's sort of been able to sort of move around those very artfully, I think, which proves to her skill. And let me say this, I think it's really important, and I think Shannon brought this up, that to have somebody on the Supreme Court who actually sat at the defense table. There's currently nobody on the court that sat at the defense table, so that's what he had to, who has that
We shall
experience.
see,
really
my friend. I'm jumping on you because we're going to a break one way or the other. A little more to this.
Doug. And it's easy to customize your insurance at libertymutual.com, so you only pay for what you need. Isn't that right, Limu? 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 Sorry, one sec. Yeah. There he is.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Cool breeze on my air, wind blows through my hair. Don't care if people see me dancing in my car. And if it shines or rains, or I can't complain. It's still a beautiful day. 'Cause I got love, got love, got love, got love. It's a beautiful day.
Dad, we got this.
We got this.
I'm gonna check out the town, okay?
We got this.
We got this.
We got this. We got this. We got this.
Life is for living.
We got this.
Let's partner for all of it. Edward Jones.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow. Retailers, shopping channels, and now even banks have tried to cancel myself and MyPillow. During these times, your support has meant everything to us. My employees and I want to personally thank each and every one of you by passing the savings directly on to you. For example, you can get my Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $39.99 a set. That's a savings of 60% and the lowest price in history. And remember, they're made with the world's best cotton, grown where the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River all meet. They come with my 10-year warranty, and I guarantee they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own. So go to mypillow.com now and use the promo code on your screen, or call the 1-800 number below to get my Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $39.99, the lowest price in history. If you do it right now, I'm also going to include a free gift with your purchase. Thank you, and God bless.
Tommy John has been dedicated to elevating underwear for over a decade. Now, we're proud to reveal our most premium men's underwear yet. This is Apollo. All new, ultra breathable, rigorously tested for durability, and enhanced with exclusive dry release tech. We've upgraded the softness and the level of comfort, so don't be surprised if your confidence is upgraded too. Experience high end for your rear end at TommyJohn.com and get 20% off your first order.
Better hearing leads to a better life, and that better life starts at Miracle Ear. It all begins with the most innovative technology, like the new Miracle Ear Mini. Available exclusively at Miracle Ear. So small, no one will see it, but you'll notice the difference. And now, Miracle Ear is offering a 30-day risk-free trial. You can experience better hearing with no obligation. Call 1-800-MIRACLE right now and experience a better life.
All right, well, woulda, shoulda, coulda with the continued run-up in energy stocks today. A little footnote on them. They've essentially doubled this year. In fact, some of them more than that, drillers as well, which is a bit of an oxymoron if you consider that it's going to cost more for them to drill when prices are higher. But having said all of that, they are kind of like the new FANG stocks. Let's see how long that holds here. Hillary Vaughn in Washington, where lawmakers are saying, well, we don't want it to hold on too long. It's just what they're going to do in the meantime that's got everyone's interest. Hillary.
Hey,
Hey, Neil, well, Democrats on Capitol Hill are kind of looking to use the crisis of high gas prices to their political advantage heading into the midterms. A memo from a Democratic polling group advising Democrats ahead of 2022 to use spiking prices at the pump to push people to go green, saying this: it's essential for Democrats and clean energy advocates to be on the offensive in addressing voters' concerns about gas prices, both by fixing blame where it belongs and offering a clear path forward to voters. The memo telling Democrats to accuse oil companies of price gouging and make the case for expanding clean energy alternatives. And apparently, some Democratic senators got the memo.
Meanwhile, big oil CEOs are on track to spend $88 billion this year, not to produce more oil, not to address the crisis of climate, but to buy back their own stock and hand out dividends to enrich their wealthy stockholders.
Oil and gas CEOs this week told the White House they need help to ramp up production. They need the administration to clear the backlog of drill permits waiting for approval and also cut the environmental red tape that can delay projects for years before companies can break ground. But the White House is reportedly looking at another way to dull the pain, possibly sending stimulus checks to Americans to pay for gas. I asked Republican senators about that moments ago, and Senator Barrasso told me that that would just make the problem worse.
Whether it's gas cards, any of those things, it doesn't contribute to the solution of having more available energy for Americans to buy when they go shopping.
And Neil, Senator Barrasso also told me today he thinks that the White House should move forward to clear out these environmental the environmental red tape that is slowing a lot of projects down and clear the drill permit backlog. But if they don't act, he says Congress can. But of course, Democrats right now control the Senate and the House, so Democrats would have to be on board to do that as well. Neil.
Thank you, Hillary. Hillary Vaughn on Capitol Hill with that. Meantime, even with this new virus variant, this BA2, and it's spiking certainly here in the United States as it has in places like China and Europe, so far we're told nothing dramatic, and hopefully if the travel industry has its way, nothing that would get them to reimpose restrictions in this country or worse. At least that's what it's hoping. Jeff Locke at Philadelphia's International Airport with more on all of that. Hey, Jeff.
Even hoping more than that, Neil, they would like to get rid of the thing that you see on my face right now, because if I stand inside a U.S. airport, I still got to have a mask on, as well as being on the flight. They have their way. That'll end. A letter just sent by the U.S. Travel Association to the incoming head of the Biden administration coronavirus response team with 4 major points that they would like to see addressed. Number 1, to end the testing of people coming into the U.S. from overseas. That's chilling international travel, they say, and it's not needed. Get rid of the mask mandate by the 18th of April. Don't do any more travel bans, because they say that they just don't work. And send a message, maybe even from the president's own lips, that it is safe to travel by air again, both in and out of the U.S. Regardless of whether we got masks on or what restrictions there are, if you're going to fly these days, it's going to cost you. Take a look at these numbers from Hopper. They say that in March, the domestic flight on average would be $313. That's up almost 30% from this time last year. International flights, $779. That's up too, not quite as much. Not as many people going to Europe with that chaos. Individual examples of this, Hopper gave us this one, JFK to LAX. Last March, $241 on average, now $326. Why is this? Well, in addition to more people traveling, there's the issue of jet fuel. As you might guess, with the run-up in oil prices, jet fuel up to $3.33 the average gallon of jet fuel worldwide right now. That's less than gasoline in our cars, you know. I didn't realize this, but it's lower viscosity, so it's easier to refine, so it's not as high as regular gasoline prices, but up 5% in the last week, 31% in the last month, and more than double what it was this time last year. Everything's going up. As the Brooks and Dunn song goes, cost of living's high and going up. Neil.
Yeah, you're right about that, my friend. You've been working very hard, Jeff. That's very, very clear. Good to see you again, my friend. Thank you very, very much. Call the police. Jeff Locke on all of that. Well, the energy industry is certainly being targeted right now by a number of progressives on Capitol Hill. Bernie Sanders, who recognizes or thinks there's a cabal going on and that they're capitalizing off of all of this. Enter Ron Ness, the North Dakota Petroleum Council president. Tim Stewart with us as well, the U.S. Gas and Oil Association president. They're working with a group of 10 oil and gas trade groups to effectively say, look, administration, Congress, we want to work with you, but let's get past the name calling. I think I've got that right. And gentlemen, I want to welcome you both. It's a pleasure to have you here. But Tim, let me sit down with you. I want to begin with you on this argument that's out there. And I worry that it gets traction if people don't challenge it. This popular notion that you guys or the industry itself is responsible for the high prices we are seeing. I mean, that's just not the case. But it's very hard to fight that, especially when you have the powers that be that don't want to take any of the blame themselves. So what do you do to challenge it?
Well, no, that's a great question, a great point. You know, I was listening to Hillary's comments a few minutes ago. In my 30 years of working in Washington, I've learned one thing, which is Congress is only good at doing two things, which is do nothing until it's time to completely overreact. And the reality is look, the Biden administration and its allies in Congress did nothing to address this crisis as it was unfolding while we were warning them of that until it comes to a complete head. And in fact, they actually were accelerating the crisis. And so when it all comes to a head, they trot out some moldy old ideas from the 70s with regards to windfall profits tax or price gouging. And I tell Senator Sanders, those enriching those investors, those are pension funds, and those are the small investors who've invested through mutual funds in the oil and gas industry. He needs to be careful about who he's worried about being enriching.
Yeah, you raise a very good point. I mean, a lot of people who invest in energy stocks, oil stocks in general, of course, love the added appeal of oil companies that pay dividends, of income that you can get from investing in a company, in a stock, and those are not fat cats at taking advantage of that. A lot of people, this is paying for their retirement. Leaving that aside, Ron, I'm curious as to how you work with an administration, though, that has already said we're not for opening up Keystone or even expanding domestic oil production, points the finger back at you guys to say there are a lot of unused contracts and leases on land, and if you were so hot to trot to take advantage of that, you would, and you're not. What do you say?
Well, thanks, Neil, for having me today. Oil and natural gas is the backbone of our economy, and President Trump recognized that early on in his run for presidency, and he made our country, America, the world's largest producer of oil and natural gas. This president could change the price of gas tomorrow if he would come to the podium and announce that his administration is changing direction. He's directing his federal agencies to work with industry, approve permits, approve pipeline projects, urging the financial sector to invest in oil and gas and grow production in America. That is a huge problem that we're having in North Dakota, trying to get Wall Street and investors who are being told every day not to invest in fossil fuels. That is limiting our ability to grow. And this is a big, it's taken a long time to get here. We're, about 15 months for this administration to watch U.S.'s oil and gas production decline. We're not going to turn it around overnight, but they can have an impact tomorrow if they change the direction of this country. It's fixable. We can make the cleanest barrel of oil in the world in North Dakota and the Bakken, and we can grow our production in America to offset Russian oil production. So it can happen. It's just that there's a constant diatribe, almost wanting energy prices to be high for the talking points you saw earlier from the Democratic Party.
Gentlemen, I just don't see that attitude in Washington going. And to prove the point, you can see that they're very interested in the administration. They're talking about getting oil, for example, from Venezuela, among the dirtiest oil refined oil on the planet. So if environmental concerns were a paramount problem, that would never be an issue. But it is, and desperate times call for desperate measures. But the real strategy seems to be, and I'll pick up this point with you, Tim, just not to focus on fossil fuels at all. The push right now, because of these higher prices, to electric vehicles, which of course is is good news for environmentalists because they want us off the stuff that you're touting. So how do you change minds, or can you?
Well, that's that is a challenge that we have in trying to help scope this narrative. And the reality is what they're proposing just isn't grounded in reality. Look, we want to meet them on common ground. That was the purpose of our message to the administration last week, is there's common ground which we can meet on. But the first thing you have to do is stop treating the U.S. oil and gas industry as if it is an enemy to the American people. For whatever reason, Venezuelan crude in their mind is better than Wyoming crude or North Dakota crude. And that is just a false narrative that we are struggling to change. To Ron's point, though, Neil, we've got 4,600 permits that could be approved today. We're waiting on additional approval from the administration to get our infrastructure built. For an administration that's so emphasizes infrastructure so heavily, pipeline infrastructure is as important as any other road or bridge. The other thing that they could do, though, is send a clear message to Wall Street, which is it is okay to invest in the oil and gas industry in the United States. They've got to stop sending nominees to Congress who are openly hostile to the industry. They've got to pull back some of these rules that they're putting out, coming out of the SEC and labor and others, essentially trying to debank industry. And in doing so, we'll be able to bridge that transition. Look, we all want to get there eventually, but we'll be able to bridge that transition, but it isn't going to happen tomorrow, despite their best wishes.
So, Ron, Tim had mentioned that you guys have communicated with the White House. I don't know if that directly includes the president. What have you heard back? Because their actions seem to be speaking fairly loudly on this. They're not open to domestic production at all. There's nothing that seems to hint of that. So is this all a waste of time or what?
Well, we sent a letter to the president last week, 10 oil and gas trade associations across this country. It's very insulting to us that we look at Venezuela to increase oil production. The country of Venezuela today produces 800,000 barrels of oil a day. The state of North Dakota produces 1.1 million. We were at 1.5 million about 15 months ago. With the right regulatory policies, the right investment climate, we can increase production in America. That adds jobs, it adds wealth, it adds to our economy. But more importantly, maybe in the geopolitical world, it truly helps our friends and allies across this world in this situation we're in with the Ukraine. It didn't take a rocket scientist to understand that demand was going to go up after we got out of COVID. Supply was going down because of all of the pressures to decrease American oil production. So we're in this situation. America's oil and gas industry stands ready to help. But every day you wake up and the federal government is going after you, targeting you, discouraging investment, discouraging workers. Those things diminish the willingness of the industry to be able to ramp up, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's a big industry. It takes a long time to get these permits, these processes in place to increase production, but we can do it in America.
No, I think you're right. I'm always wondering, those who advocate one energy over another, why can't you just be all in on everything? If you want to pursue green technologies and the wind and solar and all, have at it, but don't lose sight of the stuff that we have plenty of here. Go all in with everything. But what do I know? You guys are the experts. Ron and Tim, I want to thank you both for coming here, stating your case.
Thanks.
I think people need to hear it.
Thanks,
all right.
Neil.
In the meantime, a fascinating little blurb coming from the Wall Street Journal right now, at least fascinating to me, concerning Roman Abramovich. Remember, he was the Chelsea soccer team owner, wanted to sell it because obviously sanctions had gotten to the point that he couldn't do so. They're still not allowing him to profit off that sale. But the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the U.S. has not sanctioned Abramovich because Ukrainian President Zelensky said he's acting actually as a go-between in peace talks with Russia. That's pretty interesting. Now, what kind of role is he playing in those peace talks? Can he advance those talks? Vladimir Putin hates him because he feels that he's turned on him. Can much progress be made of that? But it could explain why there's been no real sweeping action taken against him, because he could be playing a vital link in ending this whole thing. We shall see.
Cuts through the noise. Just still another example of cancel culture gone too far. Like no one else can. We'll dig a little deeper. Get your weekly reality check. WSJ at Large with Jerry Baker.
Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Feel stuck with credit card debt?
I jump up on the stage and do my money dance.
Move your high-interest debt to a SoFi personal loan. You could get out of debt sooner and feel what it's like to get your money right.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful, so we set out to create a better home selling experience with a network of the most successful real estate agents in America that'll sell your home for as little as a 2% commission.
The icing on the cake with the Ideal Agent was that we saved $12,000 in commissions.
We would definitely use Ideal Agent again. The whole process was so positive for us.
Excellent service.
Getting right to the
iBuySD.com, there's no fees, no commissions, no banks, and no repairs. Just go to iBuySD.com for a free, no obligation cash offer 24 hours a day. That's iBuySD.com.
Hi, I'm Leo Hamill. Have you ever wished your diamond was bigger? Who hasn't? We now offer you the chance to trade in your diamond for a much larger, laboratory-grown, real diamond for very little money out of pocket. Lab-grown diamonds are real diamonds. Scientists start with a diamond seed and they grow you a real diamond. It just takes less energy and effort than mining a diamond, which saves you money. You can significantly upgrade the size of your diamond with the same or maybe even better quality, and it won't cost you a fortune. For example, you can trade your 1-carat diamond for a 2-carat lab-grown diamond for as little as $2,000. You can trade your 2-carat diamond for a 3-carat lab-grown diamond for as little as $3,000. And no one will know the difference because a lab-grown diamond is a real diamond. Your friends can't tell, and not even a jeweler can tell. Why not have a bigger diamond now?
Come see us.
All right, we are in and out of session lows on the Dow, down about 353 points. Oil prices rocketing. About 5% on Brent North Sea crude today. A similar amount, certainly in West Texas Intermediate. But all of this comes at a time when the president, now I think a couple of hours away from meeting with his NATO counterparts in Brussels, and also going on to Poland while he is there. The latest talk is that he might add U.S. troops in some of these NATO countries, particularly those bordering Ukraine. Mark Meredith has more at the Pentagon. Mark.
Neil, good afternoon to you. Well, even before Russia's invasion into Ukraine, we saw President Biden order additional U.S. troops throughout Eastern Europe. And now, as you mentioned, as the president and other NATO leaders get ready to meet in Brussels, it's likely we're going to hear a lot more talk about how many more troops may be needed to shore up security all across the alliance. Right now, at this hour, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is making his way to Europe. He's flying separate than the president. But, you know, Lloyd Austin was just at NATO headquarters less than a week ago. And while Pentagon officials are not detailing how many additional troops may need to go, it's clear from speaking with officials that those discussions are already underway.
The security situation, the framework here on the European continent is changed, and I think everybody's going to have to deal with that going forward.
U.S. troops are already embedded with NATO forces in countries like Estonia, Latvia, Poland, a lot of countries actually. And now they're up to 100,000 troops stationed all across Europe. Those are some of the highest numbers that we've seen in recent years. But foreign policy experts we spoke with say U.S. should be sending more troops, not to Ukraine, but to other NATO countries to send a direct message to Russian President Vladimir Putin.
But alliance will certainly be stronger and more secure with more NATO forces, and Russia has no reason to be worried about it because they know that these forces are not something that can be used in an offensive way against them.
Now, remember, Neil, there are no combat troops from the U.S. on the ground in Ukraine, but we did hear from Russia's foreign minister today who threatened to NATO not to send any peacekeepers into Ukraine. There haven't been any on the ground already, saying that if they were to go, that they would be directly targeted by Russian forces. We also heard from NATO Secretary General. He had a news conference today ahead of this big summit tomorrow, in which he said right now there are no plans to send peacekeepers into Ukraine. But it does go to show you there's a lot of people closely watching where any troop movements may be throughout Europe and, of course, around Russia. Neil?
Mark Meredith, thank you very much for that. To Lieutenant General David Iptula on this, retired U.S. Air Force. General, it's interesting because peacekeeping forces have already been rejected by Vladimir Putin, and that they would be targeted and even ignite a chemical response. I can't believe that, but what do you make of that?
Well, Neil, first, thanks for having me on. I think we need to get out of the position of having Putin deterring U.S. actions and NATO actions and reverse the situation such that the United States is deterring Putin from further aggression. Now, the recent news report indicates that that may in fact be a very smart move to make, and that is to increase U.S. force presence in NATO countries that are close to Russia as a means to send to signal to send to Putin that we mean what we say in the context of he needs to limit his adventurism, if you will, to Ukraine. That's one part. And obviously there are other things that we can do. But we've got to get out of this mode of letting him have the upper hand when it comes to deterrence.
It's interesting, too, because if you read the remarks of the Russian foreign minister on this, he was cagey as to whether sending peacekeepers and how Russia would respond had to do with sending them into Ukraine or, to your point, beefing up neighboring NATO countries. Either one would seem to trigger a response from Russia. What would that response be?
Well, that's hard to tell. I mean, if Putin has acted, I was going to say irrationally, but perhaps in his mind, rationally. So it's difficult to understand what he might do. But we sure as heck should not pay any attention with respect to his aggressive language, or at least coming out of the Russian foreign ministry with respect to what we do or not do regarding force additions to NATO countries. I mean, that's clearly should be not an issue whatsoever that we should consider. So what we do and what NATO does shouldn't be influenced in any way, shape, or form by what comes out of the Russian foreign ministry.
All right, General, always great catching up with you. David Iptula served this country very, very honorably. Again, it's hard to keep track of this stuff. By the way, another threat from Vladimir Putin, wanting hostile states to pay for Russia's gas in rubles. That would include the United States, pretty much all of the European Union. Obviously, it would be a very complex thing to do and to administer. He's giving financial authorities in Russia about a week to come up with a way you could do that. The problem with the ruble, with pennies on the dollar, in fact, now less than a penny on the dollar, how do you do that without hurting yourself? And what countries would be takers to that after this?
Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade is more than a trading platform. It's an entire trading experience. With innovation that lets you customize interfaces, charts, and orders to your style of trading. Personalized education to expand your perspective, and a dedicated trade desk of expert-level support that will push you to be even better and just might change how you trade forever. Because once you experience Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade, there's no going back.
Today, market bottoming out? Get up to the minute insight for investors. Charles has the analysis you need on making money. Then, Fed fallout as they increase interest rates. What's the impact for buyers and sellers? Redfin CEO has answers today on the Clayman Countdown.
Have you ever met a transgender kid?
There is no atmosphere that is the same as playing a sport with your team.
When you're playing a sport, it's not just about you. It's about what you can do as a team or as a group.
Most of what I coach are team sports, and it's not about being perfect. It's about growing as an individual and growing as a team member. And where in that does gender identity come in?
I want to even be a coach someday, just to help other kids get to where they want to be.
We're a team.
Real estate is more personal than just office buildings and apartment complexes. Nitya Capital helps investors make above-market financial returns while also enhancing the life returns of customers who are living in our quality properties. As someone who grew up in a rundown apartment myself, I know how important it is to maintain clean, safe, and friendly living communities. At Nitya Capital, we want to build these communities with our community of investors who are redefining real estate.
This is crazy.
You know, with OnDeck, we could get a small business loan fast and order more equipment today.
Or Lone Falcon!
Lone Falcon, why? There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. OnDeck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan and, if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
As someone with hearing loss, I know what a confusing and frustrating experience getting hearing aids can be. That's why I founded Lively. High-quality hearing aids with all of the features you need and none of the hassle. Lively offers Bluetooth FDA-regulated hearing aids delivered to your door for thousands less than you'd expect, and remote access to an audiology team 7 days a week. Better hearing has never been this easy. Try Lively risk-free for 100 days. Visit listenlively.com.
Hello?
Inflation is rising. We need to diversify.
Mom?
I'm adding more exposure to crypto.
What time is it?
Well, it's crypto time, baby!
I created a monster.
Grayscale, building the future of financial legacies.
This is Frank. Frank is my best friend. The type of best friend who becomes family. I do my best to take care of Frank and give him everything he needs to be healthy and happy. I choose Jinx because it's made with real, clean ingredients, packed with premium proteins like organic chicken and powered by superfoods. I take care of him like I take care of me, because that's what family does.
America keeps turning to Kudlow. He's been beating the competition to become the king of business news. No one else has his experience. No one else does his kind of analysis.
And I'm not going to hold back.
Kudlow.
From Wall Street to your street.
Weekdays at 4.
Welcome back to Cavuto Coast to Coast. I'm Lydia Hu. Residents of Iowa are outraged after Apple takes $200 million in subsidies from the state and then lobbies against a bill that will limit female high school sports to biological girls. A local lawmaker tells Fox News Digital Apple crossed a line in pushing a social agenda that went against the will of Iowa's voters.
That becomes a concerning issue when we have a major industry who attempts to come in and force public policy based on an agenda they may have in a boardroom out of state.
That bill was signed into law earlier this month. Apple received the incentives in exchange for construction of a data center that was supposed to be open in 2020, but is now delayed until 2027, according to reports. Not only are residents outraged that Apple is pushing a public policy, they say the deal is unfair, calling it welfare for Apple and pointing out that small and existing businesses don't get hundreds of millions of dollars in tax breaks.
I know that Iowans across the state are frustrated with the fact that they are subsidizing such a huge industry, such a huge company that advocates against their beliefs.
Now, the Apple data center will create 50 permanent jobs, but Apple declined to comment to Fox News about how it will benefit the residents. The tech giant says it has contributed more than $5.5 million to local projects in Iowa, like a new park, but that totals less than 3% of the subsidies it received. Now, Iowa has also provided incentives in the past for Google, Microsoft, and Facebook owner Meta to build data centers in the state. All three of those signed a public letter in February condemning the women's sports bill. Neil.
All right, Lydia, thank you for that very much. Of course, this has been the week in the weeks that we've seen great interest in electric vehicles with gas prices rocketing. Supposed interest on the part of Americans at least contemplating buying an electric vehicle of their own. But, you know, there are problems there. First of all, electric vehicles are expensive. And secondly, finding the means to charge them, and they all have various standards. That's pretty difficult as well. Madison Alworth looking at all of that right now. Madison.
Hi, Neil. So as you said, the push for electric vehicles, it's on, but the vast majority of Americans say they don't have charging access at home. You see how that could be a problem. So according to a new survey by Morning Consult, 78% of U.S. adults say they don't have EV charging access where their vehicles are parked. If you don't have a personal garage or dedicated parking spot, you are currently being left behind in this big electric car push, and it could also stunt the growth of the EV industry as well. It is important to note, people in this survey were not asked if they have an ordinary electric outlet in their garage or near their driveway, which is all that is technically needed for most of these cars. The author of the survey said that was done intentionally to also show that there is a lack of education around electric vehicles. Moving on to another headline, if you've got a friend at Deutsche Bank, the next time you go out to dinner, maybe you should let them pay the bill. Workers at Deutsche Bank's retail unit Postbank will see a pay increase of 5.2% after months of talks. This will help thousands of workers at that bank as German inflation hovers around 5%. So the overall raise exceeds inflation. What a nice thought. Wish we could see some of that kind of stuff here in the U.S., where inflation currently sits at 7.9%. So if you're a kid in high school, you just listened to this report and you had no idea what I was talking about, you're not alone, and I'm sorry, but there is good news for students in Florida. It is the latest state to require financial literacy. A bill signed by Governor Ron DeSantis on Tuesday will now require all Florida kids to take and pass, very important point, a basic financial literacy course to graduate from high school. This is going to start for kids who enter high school in 2023. The course will also cover money management. So it's not just about balancing a checkbook. Students are going to learn about credit scores, investing, and loan applications. You know, as much as I enjoyed home ec and cooking in high school, it would have been really nice to understand more about student loans, investing, all before going to college. Neil?
Yeah. You know, well, everyone could benefit from that. It's all about money in and money out, and it's an ageless problem in this country. We should know more about that. Madison, thank you. Interesting stuff. I think my next two guests are proponents of getting that word out to help people understand money. Aaron Gibbs, Mitch Rochelle. Aaron, let me get to you first. Florida is obviously going to require this. There are others that have toyed with the idea of not making graduation contingent on this, but offering it as something that kids could learn from. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I guess it's a problem and a tough sell for kids who think it's boring. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's wonderful. I think that
we forget that young people are faced with loan applications and increasing debt very early on. In fact, 1/3 of all college students end up with student loans. The average is $40,000 by the time you graduate. So I think it should be taught in a high school and stress that you are going, whether it's simply balancing a checkbook or more specifically loan applications, whether it's your auto, your credit card, student loans, and eventually your mortgage. This is something that you have to understand at an increasingly early age.
You know, Mitch, I tell my kids right off the bat, your mother and I are keeping everything. There'll be nothing for you. Nothing. You're on your own. That gets a quiet response, and then they kind of move on. But all kidding aside, there is very little knowledge about basic concepts, like you can't spend more money than you're taking in and all of that. But where does this go? It's always well-intended. These ideas have cropped up before, but it oftentimes just fizzles out. Why?
Well, Neil, and I think you may be aware, I've spent the better part of my career in my previous firm, PwC, leading an effort to teach financial literacy across the United States. So I'm well versed in the topic. Here's the biggest challenge. The teachers themselves are uncomfortable with their own financial literacy, so they don't feel comfortable teaching the subject matter. And the tools just aren't there. There are no textbooks. There are no tools for teachers to teach financial literacy. But the one thing I learned after thousands of hours of volunteering myself in New York City public schools is that the most basic concept of financial literacy is understanding the difference between need and want. And at the end of the day, if the program in my home state of Florida here accomplishes anything, and kids graduating from high school understand the notion that my kids probably don't understand themselves, the difference between need and want, then I think they're set up with a life skill that'll do them well throughout their career and their life ahead.
Aaron, I'm just wondering why this isn't a requirement in Congress. I left you speechless, didn't I? All right, guys, thank you. Thank you both very, very much. It's not a bad idea, though. We're exploring this, but I do think it's important with basic math to be appreciated and understood. So for you kids who love numbers and get in school and really like math and all, there's nothing wrong with just pursuing that and understanding the money that comes in, the money that goes out, in small ways in your own lives, in your parents' lives, and all the way up to Congress in our whole country's lives. Trillions upon trillions of dollars that have been added to our debt because people either failed to grasp that concept or knew and ignored it just the same. Stay with us.
If you invest in the S&P 500, your portfolio may be too concentrated in big companies. This can leave it imbalanced and exposed when performance varies. Invesco's S&P 500 Equal Weight ETF RSP is spread equally across the S&P 500, which reduces potential concentration risk and helps keep your portfolio in balance. Stay in balance with Invesco's RSP. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
Learning is hard work. Hard work requires character. Learning begins in faith. It must move upward toward the highest thing, unseen at the beginning, God. And freedom is essential to learning. Its principles must be studied and defended. Learning, character, faith, and freedom. These are the inseparable purposes of Hillsdale College.
Hi friends, Richard Karn here. Now I'm known as the guy who can fix just about anything, but the technology in most appliances requires very special training to fix. My point is, even I know when I've met my match, and that's why my family has Choice Home Warranty. So we won't get stuck with high-priced repairs.
Choice Home Warranty covers over 25 major home systems and appliances. That's your AC, heating, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and so much more.
Imagine for less than a cup of coffee a day, Choice Home Warranty can help protect you from expensive major system and appliance breakdowns that your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover. But you have to call now before it's too late.
Every homeowner should have Choice Home Warranty. Your homeowner's insurance is not going to cover your appliances.
Washing machine, dryer, refrigerator, air condition. If I had any issues arise, they were able to take care of it immediately.
Now, homeowners insurance won't protect you when your home's major systems and appliances break down due to normal wear and tear. But Choice Home Warranty will. They can help cover repairs and replacements.
Choice Home Warranty is the best warranty we've ever used. It would save you so much money in the long run.
Hey, I'm not the only one raving about Choice Home Warranty. They were named a Best Home Warranty Company and Best Claim Service by U.S. News 360 Reviews.
Call Choice Home Warranty now and get access to a nationwide network of over 15,000 technicians and the latest appointment setting technology so you'll know when they're on their way.
If I have an issue with an appliance or something around the house, I just call up Choice Home Warranty and I don't have to worry about that.
So, do what this old DIYer did and call Choice Home Warranty now before something breaks down. Tell them I sent you and get your first month free.
Call Choice Home Warranty before it's too late and get protection for your heating, AC, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and more. Call for your free quote today. Call in the next 5 minutes and get your first month free. 800-983-9471. That's 800-983-9471.
Joe Biden is an incompetent woke Democrat. He's made everything worse. Inflation is up, the supply chain's down, the border's being invaded, and crime is everywhere. I'm Rick Scott. We need a new